As far as this pole being, I guess, represented as a welcome pole to colonial peoples, which is how it was represented in the newspapers at the time, in fact, you could read it as a protest, as a symbol of deep protest against the unauthorized annexation of our lands. So really, to give the pole context, so the Musgamakw Dzawada'enuxw were a confederation of 4 nations. They intimately tied together, kind of generating out of Kinkum Inlet. Through colonial incursion, these lands are coveted by the new British Columbia and Canadian governments. And so there's this process underway where, despite all these thousands of years of land occupation by the Musgamakw Dzawada'enuxw, both the province and the federal government of Canada are coming in and challenging that and basically asserting themselves by kind of granting land to colonial peoples to come in. And in Canada, they were granting approximately 165 acres to each colonial person. So there were families that were interested in farming the productive tidal areas of the river system. And so they were coming in and claiming those lots of land that had been allocated to them by the colonial government. Meanwhile, our people who'd been living there for thousands of years and still living there and using those lands are questioning this process, saying, we do not understand how these lands are being removed from us and given to other people. Out of that process, our community land base was pushed off those flatlands, up the river onto a very, very tiny reserve. It was really interesting today to see the pole and to know that at one point it was holding a broken copper above its head, because within our traditional systems that broken copper is a way of protesting a disagreement that has occurred between peoples. And in our system, publicly one would break a copper and then give that broken piece of that copper to the person who was perpetuating the offense. When it's framed as a gift to the farmers, this pole is a gift to the farmers, and you think about this broken copper that this person is holding above their heads, then certainly the reading of what that image is and what it symbolizes becomes highly politicized and an act of protest and actually certainly agency on the part of Johnny Scow in a traditional way against the fact that these farmers had actually taken lands that by rights, even according to Canadian law, still belonged to the Musgamakw Dzawada'enuxw peoples. It's really interesting how rough it is. Yeah. You know, because if you look at photos of what Johnny Scow commissioned for his house fronts and his house poles, and they were all really well executed, and so I think it's a clue in regards to how it was done and why it was done. Anything I'm saying is I'm saying because other people have said it to me and other people have brought that to my attention. I'm not an authority to speak on the pole in and of itself. There is a family and a broader community that it is all tied to, and I try to speak on behalf of that or to that. It's so much more important to a broader range of people than just myself, and certainly I have a hesitation sometimes in being the one to articulate these things or be recorded as articulating these things, because these are teachings that come from a broader community, and I always want to acknowledge that. My hope is that if we can reconnect some of these meanings for the public, then the public will start to ask themselves questions. What about these lands? And I think that's an incredibly valuable act to do.